Hello folks and welcome to the Double Dutch Show, I'm Double Dutch. Today I wanted once again to have a look at some of the most promising projects on Kickstarter, Steam Greenlight and Indiegogo. In the spirit of the coming Halloween, today's selection of games will be of the horror thematics. But first let's start with a quick recap of the last week's events. Star Citizen has reached its goal and is presently at over 750,000 out of its 500,000 goal. With its core funding now secured, it is now a matter of hitting stretch goals. As a bit of fun, I'll make a little prediction that the game will net somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million by its closing date. We'll see if it's true just in its 20 days. Hero U is still in the process of reaching its goal, currently having close to 150 out of 400,000. I would really like to see this particular game brought to completion, although I don't think we are looking at many stretch goals here. It's unlikely that the game will go over 500,000, in my opinion. Sword of the Stars is sitting firmly at less than 10,000 mark with 2 weeks to campaign deadline. I've mentioned before that funding prospects aren't stellar for this one, and it's pretty clear now that we won't see the goal fulfilled by the ending date. Moving up to up and coming projects, let's begin with Dark Matter, a survival horror game by Interweave. Set in a spaceship, you'll take the role of a survivor in what promises to be a non-linear exploration game with scavenging, crafting and tactical combat against some sort of alien presence. The developers promise a whole range of appetizing features for the game, an adaptive AI, the use of light and shadows, complex system of upgrades and much more. What does puzzle me is that the game has been in development for at least half a year, yet there are no gameplay videos of it as of yet. The trailer offers some stock footage of rather cartoonish looking bugs and a rather unappealing texture quality. The gameplay trailer is coming allegedly according to the game creators. Dark Matter can currently be only seen on Steam Greenlight outside of the developer website, and as such I think it's well worth a thumbs up from the community considering they're not asking for any money and the feature list is rather appealing. If the game will live up to its expectations, it can be a rather nice little title. If not, we'll get another I'm Alive and Deadlight clone with a hint of Dead Space in it. I don't think that's such a green prospect after all. Moving on to another project, it's Knock Knock by the Russian studio Icepeak Lodge. These guys are famous for two games, Tension and Pathologic. Both of these are really nice in terms of design and art, but are sadly lacking in terms of gameplay. Luckily, Knock Knock seems to be more on the casual gameplay side, so I think this is the title they can handle really well. Knock Knock is another 2D survival horror game, yet it won't have much in common with Dark Matter. As a lonely hermit living in the house in the woods, you are besieged by various ghosts and apparitions during the night, which you have to defend against until dawn comes. The game will feature various enemies drawn from mythologies, urban legends and scary stories, and defending against them would primarily consist of creating barriers, keeping the house lit and repaired, and plain old hiding. There will be some limited crafting to the game, however the devs mentioned it will be less of a Dead Rising kind of crafting, with gluing nails to baseball bats, but instead the combination of various natural elements. There is very little footage or info on the actual gameplay mechanics, so I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna play out. New enemies and rooms of the house will be unlocked night after night, and each night will be 7 to 10 minutes in length, making it a nice little casual title. Knock Knock has been on Kickstarter in July and met its funding goal. However, the devs still seem to be accepting donations at their website through PayPal. Right now you can get the game at 50% discount for just $5. It is also on Steam Greenlight. The original setting and gameplay makes me think that this project might become a very nice and original title, or alternatively a hipstery artsy piece of gameplay garbage. How that's gonna work out we'll just have to wait and see, as there is no deadline for the project as of yet. Last but not least we have the unusual title, Cthulhu World Combat, which I'm just gonna call World Combat because I can't stand pronouncing Cthulhu all the time. Unusual because it's an iOS game, and personally I don't normally care much for iOS titles. Still, World Combat caught my attention, and some with stretch goals are bringing it to other platforms, so who knows, this might be an interesting venture after all. This project is brought to us by Sandy Peterson, the guy who worked on a variety of titles in gaming, from Doom and Quake to Darklands and Age of Empires, and he is accompanied by a whole set of gaming professionals who worked on a variety of titles of their own. World Combat is a multiplayer turn-based strategy, which I don't think I've seen many since XCOM played by email in the late 90s. You select one of the 4 factions with unique set of units and try to best your opponent in both tactical and global battles. It will be playable against human players or bots, and you can play against various people simultaneously, sending and receiving turns from each other. World Combat reminds me of the recent Hero Academy, and that title did pretty fun in terms of gameplay. I think putting it in the original setting might be a nice little neat idea. If you've got an iPhone or an iPad, I do suggest checking it out. If you don't, I wouldn't hold my breath, since $500,000 stretch goals to bring the game to other platforms seems at this point rather distant. Alright folks, that's me done for this special Halloween review. I'll see you next Tuesday with some more interesting projects. Subscribe, like and spread the word.